Hello, friends. It's your boy Jeff. Welcome back to the Spin Zone. It's been a minute, hasn't it? I know I get sidetracked on my little offshoot series, but the main thing, the bread and butter of this channel, if you will, is always going to be the Spin Zone. So, going to try to keep this under 20 minutes. I got 11 records to show, so we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right to it with starting off with the best of Dave Edmonds. I picked this up at the same time I picked up his album called Information, which I showed in an earlier Spin Zone. For, a greatest hits album, you really can't go wrong. I mean, and this should be qualified by saying the best of Dave Edmonds in the Swan Song years, because he was signed to the Swan Song label throughout the 70s, or most of the 70s. So, you've got Girls Talk, which is his cover of the Elvis Costello song, which is great. I Knew the Bride When She Used to Rock and Roll. That was a Nick Lowe tune. Here Comes the Weekend. Almost Saturday Night, which is a John Fogerty tune. So Edmonds has a good taste for picking covers. He also does Queen of Hearts, the Juice Newton song. Crawling from the Wreckage, that's by Graham Parker. Trouble Boys. It's a pretty stellar comp. If you're just looking to dip your toe into the catalog of Dave Edmonds, this would be an excellent place to start. Always loved Dave Edmonds. Now, I usually show the albums in the order that I listen to them, but for this one, I'm going to make a little exception because I got Lucky Town and, see if I can fit it all in, Human Touch by Bruce Springsteen. I got these from John over at the Digital Gramophone. He was doing one of his famous purges, and when he showed these, I said, hold on a second there, buddy boy, let's talk. And he gave them to me for player price, so I was more than happy to get these because I was curious. I'd never listened to the entire albums before, and they were both released on the same day. I don't know why he released two separate single albums instead of going with a double. We don't question Bruce. We just listen and go along. So, and I didn't have either of these on vinyl, so I was more than happy to get these, and these are very nice shape. They played very well. So Lucky Town was the one I listened to first. From this, the title track I quite enjoyed. What else? Was there another hit off this one? I think Local Hero or Better Days. I think Better Days was one. But here's the back cover. Let me just show Human Touch here. This was the other one, and I'll just talk about them together, because here's the back cover. They are kind of linked in history. And then, of course, again, Human Touch, the title track, was the song I knew, and 57 Channels and Nothing On, which was kind of eh. Even when I first heard it, I was like, eh. It was just okay. But these albums get maligned or bashed a lot because, they came out in 1992, and by then Bruce had dumped the E Street Band and basically made these records with session players. And the knocks on these albums is that the writing isn't as strong as, his classic albums from the past. And I kind of agree, and I kind of don't with that assessment, because these albums are perfectly fine. I didn't have a problem with either one, really. There were plenty of good songs on here. But the thing that I noticed is that a lot of the music does sound pretty generic, because when you have a band like the E Street Band behind you that has a very distinctive sound and can play, virtually anything that Bruce throws at them, and then you just get rid of them for whatever reason he did. I don't know, maybe he was just tired of looking at their faces after a while, maybe, I don't know, but to just get, some session guys, and he did a lot of the playing himself on these records too. So, it's like both of these kind of sound alike. They're not completely interchangeable, but they're not horrible by any stretch. I didn't think they were horrible at all. I thought they were perfectly fine. I could easily see myself listening to these again. In fact, if I had to pick a favorite, I would probably slightly give Lucky Town the edge, but Human Touch had some really great ones on here, like on side 2, right in the middle of side 2, it's a song called Man's Job, and the lyric is, or the chorus is, loving you is a man's job. And of course I looked at my wife and she just smiled at me and nodded, because it's true. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with these albums. They're fine. Are they? They're not. They're certainly not Born to Run. They're certainly not Darkness on the Edge of Town, or The River, or Nebraska, or any of his other Stone classics. But I don't think they necessarily deserved a lot of the bashing that they got. And I wanted to satisfy my curiosity, and it ended up working out pretty good. John made some shelf space, and I filled a hole in my Bruce vinyl collection. So I liked them. I didn't see a problem with them. Again, they're not masterpieces, but they're not complete trash either. They're kind of somewhere in the middle. But imagining what this would have sounded like with the E Street Band behind him might be a different story. It probably would have raised the quality level up, at least to me. But then again, by this time, Bruce had released, a string of classic albums and toured endlessly behind all of them, just about all of them. He was probably pretty tired by the time the 90s came around. He wanted to take a break, because I think it was like a 5-year gap between Tunnel of Love and these albums, and then I think it was another 3 to 5 years before his next one. So I think Bruce wanted to live life for a while, so, and just recharge himself. But again, these are perfectly fine, but they're not a masterpiece by any stretch. Something that is, to me, a bit of a masterpiece is this album. This is the pride of Zion, Illinois. This band is The Shoes. And I know some people, if they're watching this, like Hannah and Emma, are nodding their heads and going, yep. This is their album called Present Tense from 1979. Here's the back. Tomorrow Night was the single, and I'd heard it on the radio on my Saturday morning flashback show that I listened to every week when they did 1979 about a month ago. And it inspired me to just track this album down, which I did on eBay, for relatively cheap. This was actually sealed when I got it. It's not sealed anymore. And if it's got, a bunch of like record store stickers or even hype stickers, I usually keep it in the shrink. So I kept the shrink on this copy. But this is a fantastic album. Fantastic power pop, new wave-ish album. It's driving, it's energetic, great guitars. I love the drumming on this album. I played this probably after the first time I played it all the way through. It was one of those albums where I just turned it over and started it all over again and listened to it all again. Too Late, that's the second song that comes after Tomorrow Night. That was awesome. Hanging Around With You was very good. There is a song on the middle of side 2 called I Don't Miss You, and it's got really excellent, almost kind of tribal sounding drumming, rock and guitar, just slabs of riff being torn off, and it's just fantastic. These guys should have been superstars. I need to get more of their albums. I know Black Vinyl Shoes was highly recommended to me. That's on the list. I'm going to keep an eye out for it. Might be going on a dig this weekend. I don't know. Maybe I'll get lucky. We'll see and find it. But if you're interested at all in the power pop genre, sort of in the realm of Cheap Trick, I mean, these guys rock just about as hard as Cheap Trick. Try out Shoes. And they're from Illinois also. So something about Illinois and power pop just seem to go together. Man, if I had to pick like my favorite album of this group, this would probably be one of the ones. Can't praise this one enough. Present Tense by Shoes. If you find it, if you get it, if you see it, get it. If you already have it, spin it again. It's that good. I'm probably going to be spinning this again today. So, love these guys. I love this record. My highest recommendation. This one I'm going to take out of the sleeve because I'm going to show you the cool tricolor vinyl. Because this is Legend by Bob Marley. It's a greatest hits album. Got this from Legendary Jim back around Christmas time. And I was having one of those days where I needed to feel good. So I pulled this out of the crate and spun it, and it did the trick. Just about every single song on here you may have heard of if you listen at all to classic rock radio. No Woman, No Cry, Could You Be Loved, Buffalo Soldiers, Get Up, Stand Up, Stir It Up. His version of I Shot the Sheriff, which was made famous by Eric Clapton, but I like Bob Marley's version too. Redemption Song, just excellent stuff. Exodus, Jamming. I mean, you just go down the line, and it's just hit after hit after hit. So, yeah, if you have any curiosity at all about Bob Marley, this has got to be the place you start. And then from there, check out his individual albums. But for a greatest hits comp, this is all killer, no filler. It's just everything that is wonderful about Bob Marley and the Wailers. Legend. Oh man, I'm not going to make 20 minutes. Atlanta Rhythm Section's Underdog was the album. I'll talk faster. Picked this up recently off eBay, and this is the album that has their cover of Spooky on it, which is the reason why I bought it. But the rest of the record is just as good too. So they've been popping up a lot in these spin zones. This will probably be their final appearance though, because I think I have all the ones by them that I want. But yeah, I dig the Atlanta Rhythm Section. They are awesome. I don't often do demo albums, and I don't often always go through and listen to demos when they're included in, like a special edition package of an album. But I made an exception for PJ Harvey. This is the demos for her album Stories from the City, Stories from the Sea, which I need to pick up the official version, but I wanted to get this first because I didn't have this. Yeah, it's demo versions of just about the entire album. Not in the same, I don't think it's in the same playing order as the album, but they're all there. And they're just as good as the final studio versions, I think. And it's interesting, or at least it's interesting to me, to see how, these songs started out, like what she used to work from to craft them to their final version with her band and her producer. So Uh, and I'm a fan of PJ Harvey, just about anything she does. So I'm not going to pick up every single demo album, but for this one, I made the exception, and it was really quite good. So, gotta say. Then I picked up some new speakers for my stereo. I'll probably do a short separate video showcasing them. But the first record I played on them was the Record Store Day from last year, Miles Davis Double Image, featuring outtakes from the Bitches Brew sessions. And I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Bitches Brew album. Again, this is not so much demos as like alternate takes of certain songs. A lot of noodling, a lot of meandering. Is it as good as the Bitches Brew album? It's close. I mean, I still liked it, but you could tell these guys were feeling their way a little bit on some of these songs. And it's on red vinyl too, I think, but still enjoyable, and it sounded wonderful on the new speakers. So those will be coming up soon on a Jeff video near you. Then, the second one I played on those speakers was a gift from my wife. A surprise gift, just out of the blue one day. Blue Lines by Massive Attack. This is a famous trip-hop album from the 90s. Is it 91, I think this came out, I think. I'm not sure, it doesn't have the date on here. But wonderful album. I have Mezzanine by Massive Attack that got lots of spins on my table when I got it initially. This one will too. Sounded wonderful, and I dig the trip-hop genre, so this was a very pleasant surprise from my beautiful wife. Okay, 2 more to go, and these are kind of big. So first, I'm going to show this one. This was a gift from Brad over at H2 Vinyl. This is the Analog Productions issue of the legendary Son House, father of the folk blues. This album originally came out in 1965. There's an extensive liner notes in here about the reissue. It is a 45 RPM pressing, virgin vinyl, 180 gram, and I'm going to rank this very, very close in sound quality to Muddy Waters' Folk Singer that I've praised heavily in videos past and recommended to others, and they agree with my assessment. But this album here is very, very much in the same vein. This was released in 2016, I believe. And it's just Son House with his guitar and a microphone. A couple songs are done a cappella. All he's doing is clapping his hands. Like songs like John the Revelator, especially. It's just him clapping along and singing. And it's a very... you can hear the breath that he's taking as he's singing. You can hear his throat catch on some lyrics if he's got a little... Every detail you can imagine that went into this recording, you can hear on these records. And they even... it was originally released on Columbia, and they even do the Repro 2i Columbia labels, which I love. And this music should be in everyone's collection. Right along up there with the Robert Johnson King of the Delta Blues Singers album, which I've got. This is like the original one of the original masters of acoustic folk blues. Haunting in places. Very, very what's the word I'm looking for? His guitar, it's got the resonator on it, so it has that kind of twangy slide sound. But this is like where all the music, just about all the music that we listen to came from. So if you have any interest at all in like the history of blues or the history of rock, this is where a good place for you to start would be. Legendary Son House, Father of Folk Blues. Fantastic record. A wonderful gift from Brad. Definitely audiophile quality. This was recorded at, in Columbia's studio. It was very well recorded, very well mastered. And like I said, every detail that you can imagine, you can hear in this record. So, if you can find it, if you can get the Analog Productions version of this, get it. You will not be disappointed at all. And you guys know how much I love blues, so this is right in my wheelhouse anyway. And you feel like you're sitting on the back porch somewhere in the Mississippi Delta, and he's just singing to you. It's amazing stuff. This would also rank up there as like one of my favorite albums of this group in this video. And I'm going to close with one more. This one I just played the other day. This is the second album by Bobby Gentry called the Delta Suite. This was a Mazzy recommendation from last year. I know he showed this. It came out last year. And it was remastered and reissued. It's a very nice package. I'll show you the gatefold here. Let me see if I can see what I'm showing. Wonderful, wonderful album. If you like, Ode to Billy Joe, which was her big hit, this album was the follow-up to that one. Wasn't as successful, unfortunately, but it's a shame because this is a fantastic album. It didn't really have any hits. I mean, there were singles released from it, but I don't think any of them became hits, which is a shame because her voice is so smooth and deep and sultry, and it's got a little bit of grit to it. She's like an ingenue from the swamp. That's kind of what I call her. But this is a fantastic record. Fantastic record. And Mazzy, thank you for recommending it. I loved it. It sounded great. It was very well recorded and mastered. Very well pressed. The first disc is the original album. And the second disc are bonus tracks, which features a demo instrumental version, actually, of the first song, Okona River Bottom Band, but the rest of them are demos or unreleased, actually, demos of other songs. And in fact, on side 2 of that bonus disc, it's just Bobby singing with a guitar. And she's got such a sweet, sad, wonderful voice. It transfixes you as you're listening to it. You kind of just stop whatever you're doing. Like if you're playing on your phone while you're listening or doing something else. She starts singing and she's playing, just a acoustic guitar herself. And after a while, you're just stuck listening, and it just captures you. So, wonderful album. This also, I think of the three that would be my favorites would be this one, the Son House, and the Shoes album. Those would be my 3 favorites out of this group. Absolute favorites. Although everything else that I played was pretty good. But get this one before it's gone. I don't know if this is sold out or not, but this is definitely an audiophile quality record. I would also recommend that you get this one. Bobby Gentry, the Delta Suite. Fantastic stuff. And there you have it. All right, it's going to be 25 minutes. Sorry about that. I had a lot to show, had a lot to talk about. So thank you all for watching. As always, I'm going to try and film a couple of videos today too. Probably some comic book stuff. So I'm going to sign off. This is Jeff. Peace, y'all, and I will see you soon.